Despite their self-titled effort being the debut, I doubt that many people in this day and age were introduced to Gorillaz by it. Instead, it seems a much grander work takes that position. Their first outing was defined more by fun and experimentation than anything else. It still immersed you into the universe of Gorillaz, which was defined by gritty streets, endless highways, and infinite white voids. But it's clear from the outset that they wanted to do something a bit different with Demon Days by actually telling a story. The world was much different after that same year that they decided to drop their first. The global conscious has seemed to focus much more on tragedy, hopelessness, and decline, something that Gorillaz seemed happy to try and comment on. To prove that they weren't just a gimmick, to try and improve their environment around them, and to try to approve their legacy within the annals of music history. Over these next 4 years, something else would form.
Give us a light, mate.
You can't smoke in here.
Yes, I can. Watch.
Each of the members checked into a hotel on August 15th of 2002, starting a 1001 day countdown to the eventual release of their next album. Though it definitely wouldn't have seemed like that at the time. Damon Albarn had returned to England to finish would-be Blur's final piece for nearly another decade, and it serves as a nice prelude to what his influence would induce, being darker in mood and sharper in tone. Following the fallout of their film deal, each of the members would go their separate ways. Murdoc to Mexico, quickly getting sentenced to 39 years of buttfuck. 2D gaining cahoots with Damon and Eastbourne to help with his father's fare. Noodle going back to her homeland, and Russel left to rot in LA. Left completely alone, he was subjugated to ravenous, continual partying done by the worst people on the planet, building up an orbit until his mind broke. With Dell torn away from him and haunted by nightmares, he eventually took refuge in Ike Turner's basement, ready for the outside world. Not too long after, Noodle would return after a whole bounty of experiences, learning that she was a child soldier and regaining all of her memories, venturing across Asia, witnessing these odd swaths of deserted Chinese territories, which centered her with Damon's recent attitudes. Eventually, she returned to Kong and began writing music, quickly developing something. Demon Days all begins with just a simple heartbeat, pounding, as simplicity underlaid by an assault of avant-garde writing. Isolation goes against literally the entire evolutionary history of humanity, yet our current system divides and eats people alive in little blocks at a time. The mashup of a cheap drum machine to an integration of a fully fledged string section is a visual metaphor for one lonely heartbeat, surrounded by its own artificial creation that slowly drowns it out, until by the end you literally hear whispers and shouts, and that same drum machine still beating along. Which is all then suddenly cut away as a lone heartbeat replaced by a slick bass, and then a move from mind to soul. The act of naturally giving someone as unresponsible and emotional as a child a weapon with such caliber can only end out one end, the other side. With even the most innocent among us corrupted, the world itself begins to spew this vitriol and hate which builds up and up and up and up until it begins to corrupt the very origins of everything. Without this inspiration of the natural world, it broils a stew of endless dissent, and the balance of life, death, and restoration is trapped by the manufactured walls of its own creation, completing the trifecta that makes someone up. At the end, there begins a bashing of a dawn. Distant at first, that eventually takes over the entire piece until it becomes clear that none of this can be sustained. As that gong stops, a massive worldwide war begins to wage between people and themselves. The sight of militaristic kids wandering the streets becomes pitiful, yet people aren't even enjoying any of this. Instead, they seem to be fighting equal wars within that start to overtake even their worries among the outside world.
Murdoc got himself kicked out of the Playboy mansions for stealing ashtrays.
And Russell got a big fat ego and then changed his name to R. Diddy.
Noodle had done it, and had begun making this new era of music. Not too late afterwards, fate would bring each of the Gorillaz back to Kong, each rejuvenated and ready to work. 2D gained a new friend in monster trucking, Russel gained a few hundred pounds, and Murdoc gained a lifelong ban from Mexico following his prison break. The project was led by producer Danger Mouse, working tirelessly into the night, and many times even past that to try and coax out the best aspects of these ditties that they had created, which would eventually emerge to their satisfaction. This new work would later release as Demon Days, scored by smash hit Feel Good Inc. that would be propelled and would also gain a lot of trouble, becoming very closely associated with a small man named Wee Jimmy Manson. As they toured, many close calls would happen and bad omens would be crossed exclusively while he was present. Eventually though, he would be dealt with as things went along, and as egos got higher and higher, it seemed like the band was once again falling into their old traps, and that Murdoc was planning something. This eternal warfare continues within. You know, emotions cannot be faked. I mean, sure, you can listen to music to feel them or drugs to enjoy them, but eventually all of them will be subject to a litmus test. And when those fail, only a reckoning of biblical proportions can happen. The entertainment industry has become a monument to absolutely nothing, but these empty moods cannot exist for very long until they start to rebel. Disingenuous bouts of laughter, they literally ring about the entire song, and it seems people would want to change, yet they never do, and instead they simply regress back into their holes. So, what now? The tomorrow is uncertain for the entire population, and nothing they did before ever comes back to them in the same way. You zoom down into a failed relationship between two strangers, and you get to hear their problems firsthand. It seems impossible for any two to actually connect on any real level. It's just a loopless shiver of uncertainty forbids any foundations to be laid, and a legion of acid rain clouds come down to wash away any of that dissent. These questions of tomorrow are answered in a way that nobody wants to hear. It won't work out. Their indecisiveness has led to fire and brimstone to be unleashed on each of their territories, and it parallels the physical and inner worlds together as no new innovation or enlightenment or connection can ever be made again. Yet people seem to be celebrating in some odd way, not trying to fix any of this anymore, and instead just letting it all blow away into the wind, until an odd spark of hope begins. Some start to realize how long all of this has been going on, yet they still aren't able to let their past sins go. Something started on this day, where many know that perhaps all of it will end eventually, yet not with a little bit more reckoning. As November goes into December into January, it only gets colder and colder and colder. Yet eventually hopes are actually dashed, and you see a bit of a cap off. This loneliness has been steadily increasing steadily in the background and has become much more oppressive, which finally assures you that nothing will get better. It's almost insinuated that each of these events have already happened and has only become a cycle of hurt, which will go round and round and around and around, getting worse and worse and worse. By this point, you've reached that same exact point that you were when you started, except this world can only become so wrecked. This world would end up being the final interval, because eventually a great sin would be committed, which ends all of it, and these clouds do eventually begin to separate. We only got a couple speed rounds this time, including D-sides, a ragtag group of side tracks not befitting of Demon Days, along with special remixes done by artists chosen specifically by Gorillaz under the Search for a Star board name. This serves as a very fine summation of a lot of the songs you hear on this project. There's a nice instrumental with some fun moments and gives you a little bit of a sense of calm, though. I mean, maybe a little bit too much time is spent on the build-up and not the real thing that the build-up builds up to. It's a little solid thing, but there's nothing really there. Once upon a time, I would have seriously told you that this was better than Dare, but I gotta go back on that final statement because, I mean, not to disparage this song, it is a lot of fun. You can hear Damon smiling and laughing as he made every section of this, but it's just lacking that small thing that Dare has. This is about as close to phase 1 as you can possibly get without it actually being phase 1. I would seriously wonder if this was originally developed for the first album, because so many things, the random noise serving as the intro, if it's left-hand Suzuki method or something are here. You know, it serves as a very random place in my memory. Like, I almost always forget it exists until I look back at this track list and like, oh yeah, look at that, there it is. It's just totally, completely a phase 1 song. I love this song since the day I first laid ears on it. Like, the random, stupid combination of completely unrelated assorted noises should not work this well, but I really do love it, and it really freaking actually does. Like, specifically, I love the addition of Mr. Krabs walking around in the back to like symbolize the destruction of greed that lays on man, you know what I mean? It's just perfect. Like, it's like thematically, like it's the best. I also really enjoy how like dingy this stuff sounds. It's got this laid back, simple, carefree energy to it, and I love the textures, especially these freaking keys, like the organ and the piano sample, and just like it's just every last bit of it, like the Another phenomenal little thing. The only possible hit against it is that maybe it goes on a bit too long and could be chopped up a couple minutes, but that should not take away just how beautiful and layered like the entire composition really is. And also this line always here, it just always seems so weird to me. I always think about it. It just jumps out every time I listen to this song. I've never seen this one get its proper flowers because to me, honestly, this is among my favorite Gorillaz outings as well. Like, I've no idea if the Macarena similarity was intentional, but it works so well in tandem with these horrific rising synths in the back to create this like odd atmosphere. And I mean, I can tell you from experience, do not listen to this song riding around your city at night on a bike because it makes you feel some things. You know, you feel some primal fear that you know your ancestors haven't felt for a long time. If I'm being honest, I usually forget about this. Like, the repetitive playback is memorable, and I like how it sounds, both colorful and bold, but honestly, if it weren't for this random Shangelina video on it, or however you say that, I would not remember this as much as I do. I have no idea at all how I feel about this song. And, like, the first couple seconds and just the name alone are so many worse in Gorillaz history, but then it just kind of gets good. And then it gets bad again. Like, it's just, I don't even know. It was always funny to me how, like, the 4 members all have super different music tastes, and yet you sparsely hear them actually, like, commit to that idea. Except for here, which is essentially the 1-2-D-3 of D-sides, except this time it's for Murdoc. And frankly, honestly, I really want to hear more of these, like, flanderized depictions of the characters, because both are pretty great. Also, Murdoc is gay. You know, that's he says that. I don't care what you say. It's Murdoc is gay. That is the lyric. With this title and opening, you can imagine some like dark, horrific passages about evil and Satans with a 20-minute guitar solo, but instead you actually get some modular groove reminiscent of something that like Daft Punk would put out on Homework. You know what I mean? It just shifted a little bit. I like it. Once again, wow, dude, I am so thankful that this was changed because I do not much enjoy it in this one, like at all. Like, the minimalistic approach that it later has fits it way better, and it just does not work like this, man. It just doesn't work. I always viewed this as like a lesser Hong Kong, but that's not really fair because they do have quite a few differences, mostly because of how like British this one is. And it's just, yeah, that part honestly just cracks me up every single time. Like, it just blatantly has like the Blighty written all over it. It sounds like some British grassland like covered by rainy clouds with like a single goat with some like, I don't know, little hooligan being like, "This at school not have the telly license, Margaret Thatcher." This is just way too long. Yeah, I appreciate the slow burn approach, but at the same time, I think this could be cut down way down. Okay, like a whole third could be just cut off this song. And I like the buzziness, and honestly, Damon's version of Dare's vocals are actually really great. Same with like the unconventional percussion heard throughout. It's like some Franz Ferdinand hellscape. This is actually headed by the DFA, an actually kind of huge record label, which have been hosted by LCD Sound System, as well as some other guys as well. There is like a little bit of a groove here. It's just so generic that it kind of hurts, honestly. It really feels like some kind of random producer's pet project. Like, the way that the raps and Hootie's verses are integrated is also super weird. I mean, sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't. They never play Tootie's actual verses, but they play like the rap verse like 2-3 times, I think. The Stanton Warriors are also still around today, being British DJs, but honestly, nothing else they've ever made really appeals to me. Wow. I thought that Stop the Dam sounded British, but just, you know, I guess it's a matter of taste, but like in the same way that a leather belt tastes, because I wish I could hear this song again for the first time. Just that whiplash is just so intense. It's less a remix and like more so this guy's song with Damon coming in every once in a while to sing Kids with Guns. I mean, apparently this guy, Jamie T, is like a way bigger deal than the Blighty, which, you know, I hope they enjoy that there. Just not near me. Honestly, I prefer this Dare remix, mostly because it's half the length of the first, but also because it's just fun as well. They use both the original and Damon's chorus for the chorus, and honestly, I think I just might enjoy this texture more. You know, it's mellower and it's softer. And frankly, though, I think that if these two were combined, it could be the best whole. You know, Soulwax is not Soul Child, and I was very excited because 192000 Soul Child is fantastic, but Soulwax themselves are not too bad either. I mean, they're still around, although they've slowed their output and apparently are known for their remixes like this. I really think that this one is fascinating because they somehow use like a lot of the original instrumentation while implementing their own. And this version has this little mystical hidey hole aesthetic similar to Dare Soulwax, as well as the reference to Fono de Arizona, which wouldn't even come out for another half decade. So bravo Hot Chip, who've actually released music under the DFA's record label if you remember them from earlier. As the only El Mañana remix, I gotta give this one props, because like half of Demon Days is just not even on this, like half of them just weren't even remixed, but that's about all that I can give props to, because I just don't think it really works out very well. They go for this weird, like odd, bittersweet driving idea, but it just doesn't fit with El Mañana, so it comes off just a bit weird. Also, the vocals on Damon are really weird. You know, I get that the original has like processing to it, but like they could just take it off for this like cleaner version. You know, a lot of it comes down to how like lazy and distracting they are. This is actually made by a whole band of people, and that almost shows, but I really would have preferred them to redo the vocals and then add interjections to the original, because otherwise I just see the vision with this song. I gotta say, of the Dare remixes, this is definitely the best one. The guitars add a ton, and they don't even really seem like they would. Also, this is one of the shortest ones, at 5:25, like 5 whole minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. Actually, maybe it plays a little bit too much of its hand, but I usually still want to listen by that final moment. We finished off with a slow burn, another double-digit song length, except Dare DFA also evolved and had some groove in the beginning. This is really just reminiscent of something that would be on like a new Space Monkeys project. Just slow, dredgy song that really does not go anywhere with all of the time it takes. You know, even though Quiet Village is the most interesting case, because although they are still around today, they seem to have the least success, which, I mean, it does suck, but I don't know. D-Sides is a lot more of a mixed bag than its predecessor, but it also just because it has more to it. I mean, G-Sides has like 9 songs in total. I mean, there's more songs, they're longer, and they're much more scattershot. Like, it's funny to me because in a lot of ways, D-Sides showcases that difference between phase 1 and 2, and in a lot of ways, it just simply doesn't. You can tell that Damon wanted to do something new with this album, but didn't actually know what it was, so you knew you get the Hong Kongitans, and then you get the Rockets, and then the Highways, and then the We Are Happy Landfill. But there's a little bit more to it as well. And before we leave, let's rank D-Sides. Okay. Kids with Guns, Quiet Village. Kids with Guns, Jamie T, The Swagga. Don't Get Lost in Heaven, Original Mix. Feel Good Inc., Stanton Warriors. El Mañana, Metronomy, People. Hong Kongitan, Dare DFA. Spitting Out the Demons, 68 State. Bill Murray, Highway, Under Construction. Rocket, Kids with Guns, Hot Chip. Murdoc is God. Dare Soulwax. Stop the Dams. Dare Junior Sanchez. Hong Kong. And finally, We Are Happy Landfill.
I could eat another burrito in my life.
Yeah, but you still like a bit Mexican sausage, eh, man?
Shut up, you little
Now, once again, the path ahead was a mystery. They'd finished the album and their tour, and now the one thing they needed was one more video. El Manana. There had been many mysterious events of danger following Gorillaz right as their management became the old Jimmy Wee Manson. This raised a lot of suspicions when him, Murdoc, and returning creative lead Jamie Hewlett seemed to be cooking some suspicious plan. I mean, despite the danger at hand and the suspicious activity, El Manana was indeed shot. And just as suspected, it seemed to be a horrible idea. With Noodle and now Jimmy Manson both missing, the entire filming crew were absolutely terrified, while Murdoc seemed oddly calm. The rowdy influence of alcohol just kicks and kicks and kicks and kicks until it can't anymore. Although some get this euphoric slowdown of every single bit of their problems leaving them, eventually they will always come back. You see these innocent people congregating in a club or bar just trying to run from a world that seems to fill them with these problems. So they take drugs, they party, and they dance. And there should be some atmosphere of joy to them, yet no one is feeling it. These mindless songs that bounce and jiggle so much, in the end only seem to be cavernous pieces of paralyzers. Each step they take seems to not affect the world, yet on the other side, there's an evil that's brewing so immense that exclusively a higher power could step in to stop it. The last of a secretive race of beings are being invaded, exploited, and then mercilessly thrown away as trash. And now finally, even its most remote area has been overtaken by greed and ego. So, the world begins to fight back. It relents. Tectonic plates shift, volcanoes spew ash, and the sky falls from its precipice. But the sun still comes up the next day to wash all of that away. Don't Get Lost in Heaven stands as reorientation towards the sky, breaking through the ground and finally seeing all that it truly meant. But this is meant by death. You witness the ultimate ending for everything through the eyes of a heroin addict overdosing. Yet there is no cynicism. It's a vow to hope above all things. In order to reach heaven, you must first experience a virtuous life in an evil world. Death is nothing more than the universe attempting to heal itself, and the ascent towards the clouds goes past any other barrier that anyone else may throw. Before we close out, let's do another quick lightning round. Ranking of Demon Days, the songs on the album. Oh Green World. I mean, just every time I hear about this, I think I honestly like it less. Like, its segmented style is interesting at first, but I feel like they put the emphasis on the wrong segment. Like, everything between what I guess you call the verses are so much better than what you get to them. Like, if it just slows down, all of the momentum of the song is built up, right? But that ending is still stellar. The gong, which like slowly reaches out to the universe, is always super chilling. It's just, I really like the so it just goes on too long. White Light. I mean, when it lacks in lyricism, it makes up for energy and fun. It's not gonna win any awards, but I savor the song like good enough. It has its moments, it comes, it goes. It's good, it's a good song, but it's it's Last Living Souls. As an opener, it does like an amazing job acting like it's the plain white vanilla sort of mix to show you what the album that you're about to listen to is going to be about. But I think that's about where it stops for me. It's just, I don't know, it has like the same basic structure, which almost kind of becomes a little bit, cliche, I guess is the word for it. It's just kind of, there. My love-hate relationship comes full circle because now I think the song is good. I mean, it's fun enough, and the lyrics are catchy, and I also love Sean Ryder during all of his performances. And as a sort of Noodle-centric track, I like it. It's a little bit weird in the track list, but I enjoy the how it has like a inner like great segment, and then has like an outer like Every Planet We Reach Is Dead. Its steady march gets to being a bit of like white noise as it goes on, but when it slows for the verses and then explodes for the outro, it really excels. Like, honestly, I mean, I think maybe it could be cut a little bit short, but at the same time, like all that build up that you hear is just, it just makes that ending so much better. And that ending, the ending, man, is crazy. Fire coming out of the monkey's head. The tail always gets me along to that ending, and how detailed the production is with all these sound effects and everything that layer atop it. This is the first pinnacle song for me. I mean, this is the first like 10 out of 10 song. Everything else is like 7s, 8s, 9s. This is the first 10. It brings these themes and these elements from all of these songs, and it really hits it out of the park with atmosphere. Its atmosphere is just impeccable. It's just amazing. Kids with Guns. Another very gripping one. I enjoy how it entertains the entire way through and will never not be smooth, and like the background singers will never not be catchy, and that outro will never not be amazing. Honestly, it's just kind of a better version of Every Planet We Reach Is Dead. Like, am I stupid for thinking this? I don't know. November Has Come. So this is much more of a like Mad Villainy B-side, or I mean, I guess you could say Mouse and the Mask B-side, depending on however you look at it. But it's not a bad thing. You still get plenty of taste from 2D's presence and MF Doom. He's MF Doom, like, you know what I mean. It's MF Doom, like he's all alone. For whatever reason, I always relate this in Last Saving Souls Together, and that is a losing battle, because this song beats that one out of the park. And I think the presence of so many others along with him served to really make this feel like a roundly flattening whole, if that makes any sense. The flavor that they add to the song, how many segments there are, it's just awesome. I love the All Alone. I love how it changes throughout the song. It's a great song, like I said. Everything from here is like 10 out of 10. Dirty Harry. Dare I say, a better dare. It essentially uses that same structure as something similar to Clint Eastwood, but it's just better. And it's an amazing showcase of how evolved Demon Days sounds in comparison, because Dirty Harry has all you'd ever need in a song of this caliber. Like, it's memorable, it's chilling, it's catchy, it's emotional, and most importantly, it's pretty freaking funny. I like this song. I love this song. El Mignano, for a long while, this was my favorite, and it still does a great job being here, but with further recency, I felt maybe it's a bit too sad. I mean, it started to certainly grow off of me, but the rest is still undeniably amazing. It's another great 2D-centric outing, right? I think it's just the right amount of minimalist and maximalist, right? Does that make any sense? Like it's emotional, but it doesn't really, it's not, like, there's not a lot to it. Don't get lost in heaven. Another perfectly chilling 2D song that seamlessly kicks off the album. That humming always gets stuck in my head, and the angelic production is super addicting. My only problem is that it is too short. Like, it needs to be longer. Like, I mean, I get that it's probably just to fit in with Demon Days, the title track, but I think they could have gone harder on here. Like, still, that's not taking away from the song. Like, I want more of this song. Like, it's just perfect. It's just a perfect song. Like, how do you make a song this good? Demon Days. Really, the true opus of the entire track list. It perfectly, seamlessly, amazingly closes out every single theme of the album. It's just so good, man. It just feels so good. Like, it genuinely, like, I can feel the warmth of the sun on my skin, but I'm just listening to music. Like, that's insane. Like, that's insane. The background singers and the production and the lyrics, man. Oh my god, dude, this song, man. Feel good. Probably Gorillaz' most known track, and for a great reason, because it really has all of these other songs, right? It has what Dirty Harry has, it has what El Mignano has, Don't Get Lost in Heaven, Demon Days, but it's just so completely phenomenal, right? It has all of those things rolled together, and it still works. Like, it's so slick, it's so artsy, it's so Gorillaz. Like, literally only Gorillaz could have made this one song on this one album with these instruments. It's just so freaking good. It's so tight. Like, it's barely under 4 minutes, yet it achieves something that Dirty Harry does, being like an amazing beat with somehow even better lyrics. Like, it's just perfect. The collapse of all things ends in destruction, yet leads to a new beginning and a new path forward, which was much more than could be said previously. The album was a huge success, essentially launching Gorillaz into being a real force of culture again and reaching the closest they've ever got to feeling like a real set of people. Phase 1 does a great job at letting back and enjoying its time, meanwhile Demon Days is intent to use that time wisely. Phase 2 would be the thing that we would ultimately look back on and see Gorillaz, a band, and a name that I've known for practically my entire life, and it's almost as if fate itself willed us together, and Demon Days specifically as well. We both have the same birth year, with me venturing off into different paths in life, leaving high school and now leaving out into the real world. I'll still be interested in this band, regardless of the millions of hours spent listening to other people. They will always be the band that brings me into this state of being. And for that, I can only be entirely grateful.